Hello, this is Ellietan, and welcome to my first video on Reptitan. So this channel is all going to be about animals, my passion. I love animals a lot, especially reptiles. Reptiles, I just think are so fascinating. I think they're so cool. And on this channel, I'm going to be doing tons of care guides on reptiles, rodents, future in the birds, in birds, and then eventually I might do fish. I'm not too interested in fish. However, I did have goldfish at a point, but I actually don't have any pets really. Well, like reptiles, I have hermit crabs, 2 cats, and a fish. I really like animals. Animals have always been my favorite thing, but so I just wanted to do a channel where I could share my knowledge of animals because I know quite a bit about them. But in this video, I'm going to do as like my opening video my recommendations for the top 5 reptiles for beginners. So I don't know really what else to say, but let's just hop right into this. So I'm going to be first talking about in my opinion, the 5th reptile. I'm going down from the, like, not necessarily worst, but you know, that worst in a way, to the best. And this is all my opinion. I know a lot of other people have different opinions. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, but whatever. So, at number 5, I'm putting Blue-Tongued Skinks. Blue-Tongued Skinks, they're actually the reptile I've done the, least amount of research on out of all the reptiles I've researched. It's just because I don't really think they're that interesting, but I know a lot of people really like them. I think they're a little interesting, but I really do enjoy more geckos. But Blue-Tongued Skinks, they are pretty easy to care for. A lot of people keep them on Repti bark, and I just don't have too much of an interest in them. They need quite high temperatures though, which could be pretty hard for beginners if they're just getting their first reptile. So I wouldn't recommend Blue-Tongued Skinks as a really for impulse buyers too. Blue-Tongued Skinks can be pretty complex, so they have to have salad. And I know a lot of people feed dog food, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty good for them if it's grain-free. Next, let's move on to 4. I know I'm getting a lot of hate for this one especially, but I'm putting bearded dragons as 4, honestly, guys. Bearded dragons, I feel like they have, their UVB has to be, right, you need the right wattage bulb, their heat, too. And then they have to be fed insects and calcium every day, and then their greens every day. A lot of people skip over the greens, but the greens are actually a necessity in their diet. 70% of an adult bearded dragon's diet should be greens, and they need quite a bit of variety in their diet. So please make sure you put your greens in their diet. And that's why I'm putting them here. I know a lot of people have them as beginner pets and do just fine, but please just get your bearded dragons greens. Okay, at number 3, I know I'm going over these quite briefly, but there's not really too much to say about them. But at number 3, I'm putting the Madagascar giant day gecko, or just really any day gecko in general, because day geckos, I feel like a lot of people overlook them as being good beginner pets, but they're really quite easy. The reason that they are at 3 and probably not higher up on the list is because they need heat and UVB. It's essential for them. Sorry. They need heat and UVB. It's essential. And they also have semi-complex diets. Not really, though, because it's just their fruit mix and then by Rapacia or Pangea. Those are 2 brands that I've heard a lot about and a lot of good reviews. And then crickets, dubia roaches are the 2 stable insect feeders that I recommend. But for treats, you can give them honey, fruits, and waxworms, silkworms, hornworms, mealworms. Be careful with mealworms though, because they do have a tough exoskeleton. Okay, at number 2, I'm putting in the crested gecko / gargoyle gecko. I think those are and the chahoua, I guess. They kind of all have the same care requirements, but really I'm going to talk about the crested gecko. Crested geckos are really easy because they kind of don't need heat. If you live somewhere really cold, you're going to want to provide them heat bulbs. Not an intense one, just like even maybe like a 25 watt, like a really low heat emitting bulb. And they don't need UVB if you're giving them a D3 supplement, and that's normally found in their food, and if you dust them with calcium with D3. And also they're easy to handle except for the fact that they jump, but a lot of people end up handling that pretty well. So overall, I think that crested geckos and gargoyle geckos / chahuas are pretty good overall. I know there's some differences, but I'm trying to stuff them all in one category. Lastly, I recommend overall the best pet reptile that you could possibly get is going to be the leopard gecko. I think leopard geckos are just amazing beginner reptiles. They can be easily kept in a like 10-gallon when they're babies and moved it to a 20-gallon. All they need is for substrate. I haven't really done research on leopard geckos for a while, but I remember them don't use sand, but I think you can use eco earth and stuff like that. Eco earth's pretty good for bioactive terrariums. They can be kept on paper towel and newspaper. It's kind of a natural, so I'm kind of a little against putting them on that reptiles, but I know it's safe. It's a safe option, but please do not use sand. I'll do a whole video on sand and impaction. I'll talk about all this stuff. And so yeah, I think that leopard geckos are pretty good overall. They come in all different morphs and colors. It's pretty cool. They're pretty easy to breed if you're into breeding. They're just amazing geckos overall. All they need really for heat is a heat pad, maybe even a low emitting UVB. A lot of people don't have them on UVB, and they can even be kept in tubs too with ventilation holes. I think they're just amazing, and they're easy to be handled. They chill out. That's probably why they're higher up on the list than higher above crested geckos. It's because if you're going to give this to a kid, they are going to hold it. It's not going to jump out of their hands. But the only really drawback is compared to a bearded dragon or a skink, they're kind of less hardy. You can easily squish them. So that's why. But still, I think they're at the top of the list. They can even be kept kind of on a stable diet of mealworms, though I wouldn't recommend this. I really think dubia roaches and crickets are best. And speaking of all these feeder insects that I've been mentioning throughout this whole video, I'm going to be doing a video just dedicated to which feeder insect is best, and I'll explain that so everybody who doesn't know can, just provide the best for the reptile, because that's really what my goal is right now, to make sure that you can provide the best for your reptile. But I think that this overall has been a good first video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope this helps you choose your beginner reptile. I think when I get my first reptile, I think I'm going to go with a crested gecko. I think they're pretty cool, and they can easily be handled. So out of the list, I think crested geckos and the day geckos are probably my favorite. I really like geckos. So yeah, and in the next video maybe, or in a future video, I'm going to be going over the worst reptiles a beginner could possibly get. The absolutely worst ones. You guys might even be surprised by one that I put on the list. But see you guys in the next video.